Hello. How's it going, everybody? 'Tis I, Chill Pill. Gotta take this off and see. Nope. Not doing it. Whatever. I'm just gonna do this stream with crazy hair. Oh, you know what? Maybe if I just pull it down slightly? Like that? Maybe. Whatever. Ow. Never really know what to do. How's everybody doing? My name is Chill Pill. That doesn't know what to do with his hair streamer. It has been a little bit. Have not streamed in several days. Well, several days. I didn't stream once. So it's been 2 weeks since I've played this game. I don't really remember what's going on anymore. So this will be a fun little refresher for me. Hopefully my voice is able to hold out for a while. But I'm afraid that I'm starting to get the symptoms of like the RSV that Cal has and Ratter has. So hopefully my voice doesn't give out. And if it does, then I'm just going to call the stream early, because I mean, that's the whole point of these streams, is voice acting. And if I can't voice act, then there's not a whole lot of stream that I can do. If this was a game that was more action oriented, I guess I could keep going and just talk less. But yeah, no, can't. It is what it is, though. We will get through this together. Once I figure out the hell to do with my stupid hair. Hopefully everybody has been staying warm. We have the threat of winter weather here on Thursday. And they're saying something like 8 to 10 inches of snow. I will believe that when I see it. Texas does one thing right with the weather, and two things right. It's either guaranteed to be hot all the time, or you have no idea what the weather is going to do. Everybody will try to predict it the best they can, but it never fully plays out the way that it gets predicted. So this 8 to 10 inches of snow, I want to see it. I don't think that it's going to happen. I think we will get some winter weather, but I don't think we're going to get nearly a foot of snow in Texas. No. I don't hate the snow, honestly. But I also don't like having to drive in the snow, and it always tends to snow and ice on my week to work, almost like consistently. And I hate having to drive to and from work, but the only thing that I would hate even more is if I had to stay at work because I have to work the next day. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. All the fun of working at a hospital. Ooh, Vendrana Drifts. I watched AGDQ is going on right now, and I watched speedrun race of Metroid Prime. And man, I really want to play it again. There are other games that I know that I should play first, but I really do want to play it again. I just love Metroid Prime so much. Alright. let us get right back into it, shall we? No, go away. Alright, and alright. Let's start up this trial. March 22nd, 2:14 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 3. Dude! I can't believe that Adrian! No way! Not cool and collected Adrian Andrews! She is your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So, after the ceremony during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See? She could have easily planted that blood-covered button on your hakama. Because she was the one that came to wake me up? Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yes, she is the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan Corrida. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She had her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? Hey, Ryder.
Oh, shit! A rat!
Welcome to the stream. I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial's over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of the day. Get me a verdict that's refreshing like a Get me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze. Okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix, you think her motive is related to Celeste Impact's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impacts as her strength and reason to live. But then Miss Impact suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left a suicide note, and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Corrida, the victim of this murder. And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Corrida. All to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about the relationship? Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impacts. It was Edgeworth. It looks like he's still the one in command of this ship. Don't let your guard down yet. Okay. March 22nd, 2:25 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 3. Peas and carrots, peas and carrots, peas and carrots. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. The prosecution calls the witness subpoenaed by this court. Ms. Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Corrida's room. What is your occupation? I am the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Ungard. I see. Now then. Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yes, sure. What is it? I'm sure everyone in this courtroom is wondering the same thing, and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. No, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossipland. If the judge was never a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Corrida. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan. But this was a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fry and bait matter, or was that bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing. But I didn't kill him. No one is accusing you of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ. I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well, then. Witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room, and there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was, naturally, the exact same scene as in the crime photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. You poured yourself a glass of juice? Yes, sadly, I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of the crime. And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. And that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix. She is one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yeah, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offense is the instant this trial is over. Understand? And what was Mr. Ungard doing at that time? He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his mini-performance as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony. Mr. Ungard did say he was taking a nap. Then I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? It? What are you... Right. I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. Ungard's knife from his room? No. Subject, verb, object. Subject, verb, object. Right. Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. After that, I went to Juan's room. And why did you do that? As a friendly gesture, Juan was to make an appearance with the other heroes. So the show was supposed to be a show of friendship, huh? Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon? What are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So, perhaps you had more personal matter to discuss with the victim. Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at that time. I can't get her to talk without a strong piece of evidence, I guess. May we continue now? Witness, what did you see when you got to his room? Wow, that boy is upset, huh? Let's see. You were in shock. What? Was I not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person. And despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Kurita. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. And you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. I see. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. This is the photo you're referring to, correct? Yes, the one with the knife lodged in his chest. And the guitar case was like this too? Yes, it was open and empty, of course. And then, what did you do next, witness? I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. Juice? Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There were no lip marks left on the wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down, without drinking it. Ms. Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Corrida, you were in great shock. And that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank. I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What was she starting to say just now? Ms. Andrews, I'm convinced that as you said, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry. It's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. Then why wasn't there anything in the guitar case if you knocked a flower vase over? There was no vase in the case. Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? This mess of glass shards? It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case. Why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess. It looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. Okay. There was a guitar case, but where was the guitar? You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case? Is there some problem with what I said? It's not some problem, it's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Ms. Andrews, you testify that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. That's very true. Furthermore, there is one other strange thing about the guitar case. And what's that? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor. And what is wrong with that? If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shard should be inside, not outside the case. Ah! What is your point, Wright? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? No. Think back to what Ms. Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say she didn't touch the guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. Trinket's asleep next to me, and she's dreaming, and her paws are like, doing little patty paw things on my leg. That may very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it? It seems that there is no deeper meaning to this guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? Yep. The guitar case... I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this, but it is you. I can't believe I'm doing this either. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. It looks like this really wasn't a very important point. An open and shut case, if you will. Ha ha! This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Anyways, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using anyway to change the topic, a convenient escape for a weak man. During your testimony just now, did you remember those events clearly in your mind? Well, you see... Are you sure you were the one who opened the guitar case? She's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not. Sounds like sounds like her dependent side is taking over. Well, Miss Andrews? Yes, it was me. So, you opened the guitar case then? Yes, well, maybe. Why did you open the guitar case? Huh? Mr. Kurita's dead body was right there in front of you, wasn't it? I would think that the first thing you would do is call for help, not open a guitar case. As the witnesses said multiple times, when she found the dead body, she was dazed. Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was alright or not. I thought maybe the criminal took it. Why would she care about the bright red guitar? But getting back on topic... Was it really empty? I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, the guitar was still inside. How long have you been a lawyer, Mr. Wright? Have a little professionalism. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. These trials would be over in half the time if you would just pay attention. Yes, pay more attention, Mr. Wright. Sorry. As for why, even I don't know. Was that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's probably it. I'm not going to get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk is with evidence. I guess I should give it a try. Come on, Phoenix. We can't afford to let up on her now. I wasn't planning on letting up, but she's at her weakest now, so this is our chance. Yeah. If we had a weapon to hit her with, I'm sure a weapon is hiding somewhere in the court record, waiting to be found. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. Empty, there's some water on the lid, but only on top of the lid bears Corita's fingerprints. That has Andrew's fingerprints. So this is saying that she didn't open it. Okay. I'm going to say that the guitar case is the thing again because it's got his fingerprints on it, not hers. So how did she open it? There is no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on the guitar case are those of the victim. Ah! What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at that time? Gloves? But why would you be wearing gloves at that time? It was the night of the award ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems a witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. You were wearing gloves. Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? There's fingerprints on the wine glass. So, did you take off your gloves to get the wine glass? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at that time? I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass. You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Ah! Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange? That you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Her glasses explode. Order! Order! Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. Huh? What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here. But it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty, though. But the guitar, the bright red guitar, was at the studio. Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either.
I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves despite the fact that on the case...
Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us into his misguided... No, Your Honor. Please recall that Ms. Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I was sure this guitar case had some relation to the murder. If you're so sure, Wright, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please enlighten us as to why that guitar case has anything at all to do with this murder.
Can you do that, Mr. Wright?
Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case.
The bright red guitar not being the only thing. You don't mean to suggest that a black guitar...
So you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty. Is that it, Mr. Wright? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove.
Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet.
Now then, let's have it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder? Transceiver, camera, clipping... Jesus, I don't know, and I can't save. Whoop! What? Explain this to me. How am I supposed to know that it's this? Look at it. Okay. Is it because of the arm? Or the Okay.
This is a photograph.
Yes, but what is important is what's in that picture, Your Honor.
In this picture?
It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is... inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume.
What?
Gotcha. I mean... but who said that they didn't see someone going into the room, right? Like, Lotta saw him coming out of the room with that picture, but did she see Andrews go into the room first? Okay. Ratter is saying that if she remembers correctly, Old Bag made the comment that she saw Andrews going in to the room. Man, splitting up these trials is really difficult. You're really meant to just kind of like do it back to back to back, or at least quicker turnaround than 2 weeks. Because I do not remember that detail at all. I believe it, but again, I would have never in a million years thought present this picture of the nickel samurai.
Mr. Wright, explain yourself.
Right. Are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to do something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get this shot, correct?
You mean this photo? Order! Order! It looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we?
Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. Hashtag relatable.
So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume.
Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt Ungard's. Why would something of the defendant's be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case of all places?
True. That is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case?
It was probably a spare. Mr. Ungard did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we're talking about was a spare one.
What? Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel?
Yes, that is what I'm saying.
And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case?
It would mean that the victim himself had brought this spare to the ceremony on purpose.
But why? The victim, Mr. Corrida, was the Jammin' Ninja. Why would he secretly bring this Nickel Samurai spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act?
And therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, I just...
Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai spare costume?
Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume to the hotel was... The victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume. Didn't they just say something to the effect of the Jammin' Ninja was invited to the press conference? But the press conference was only supposed to be about the Nickel Samurai. And they were going to confess something. It's got to be something to do with the press conference and the Jammin' Ninja posing as the Nickel Samurai. I don't know to what end, but maybe.
What is this?
On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference.
Press conference?
Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right? Upright. Nah. But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Ungard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night.
But how can that be?
The way I see it, that can mean only one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Carita himself.
The victim?
Yes. The spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Carita was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai.
Ah. He was going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing?
That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. And by confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Carita, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt Ungard.
Yes, I guess that is what it would mean.
But if that's the case, that's not a confession. That's public disclosure.
Miss Andrews?
I can see why you are pros at what you do.
Pardon me?
Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan.
Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this.
I was the one he asked to help set it up, and the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me.
You?
Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year, and if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought, anyway.
He was going to ruin him, huh?
It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What?
And do you know what the secret of Mr. Ungard's is, Miss Andrews?
That's something only Juan knew. I didn't know what it is.
I see.
I've probably been coming up quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt, after all. Protect Mr. Ungard?
And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Protecting Matt. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan, no matter what. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him.
This does account for everything.
Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She is more nervous than a scared rabbit.
If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I am ready to make a ruling. please keep in mind that, please keep that in mind as you cross-examine, Mr. Wright.
Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. What would you say that, what would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. 3 things? A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. And if you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Phoenix. They didn't teach that to us in school. At least not from what I remember. May I continue now? Matt had to kill Juan, no matter what. So, would you say this need came from the press conference? Yes. Do you know why Juan chose that event in the hotel for the conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt Ungard.
And you knew of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews?
Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume. But I'm sure Mr. Ungard himself didn't know anything about the press conference. Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference? Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony.
Yes, I agree. Miss Andrews, please correct your testimony if you would.
Grasping at straws now, on to me, Mr. Wright. I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. Has Mr. Ungard done something to hurt or betray you personally? Why do you ask? You were the one who helped Mr. Carita with his press conference, and that event was supposed to bring down Mr. Ungard, yet you still helped out. The person on trial right now is Mr. Ungard, right? What the witness was thinking, helping the victim with his plan, is none of our concern. In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself? And he didn't have an alibi for what he was going to do at the time of the murder. But didn't you already testify earlier that Mr. Ungard was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. Ungard? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping at the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at that time.
I keep trying, but I can find no flaws with what Miss Andrews has said. I can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom, however.
The judge is glaring straight at Mia. He's glaring at you, smartass. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course. The button and the knife. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought, and during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Jammin' Ninja's costume.
You're talking about this button, correct?
That button was found in the pleats of Matt's hakama. Isn't that correct? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence.
Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright.
Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me. With an icy stare, yes.
Ms. Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony.
That button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. And how do you know that? When the ends of the thread on the button and the costume were matched up, they were found to fit together perfectly. Or so I heard. I've heard that before too. But why would Miss Andrews know about his case down to such a fine detail? Don't look at me like that. Just because I'm prepared and you're not. And I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up, it has to be here. But where and what? But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt I had to protect him. But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? And at the worst possible time. Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? This witness could have disclosed things about Mr. Ungard at any time. Why, then, would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Mr. Kurita planned such an elaborate conference. Ms. Andrews wanted to cause Mr. Ungard as much damage as she possibly could. This witness bears ill will towards the defendant. This isn't the Phoenix Wright Wax Philosophical Power Hour. And please, stop slandering the witness. As I expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seems pretty solid. Really? Because to me, it sounded a little wishy-washy. Wishy-washy? Well, I guess we'll see if I can press a little more. You should know this by now, but you'll need strong, decisive evidence to make her talk. Got it, Chief. I'm gonna pin you down this time, Miss Andrews. So, what do I have? Hold on just a second. I need to go to the bathroom. I will be right back. No, the dogs have not eaten. Give me just 1 second. We are back. Hello, Toko. How goes it, my dude? Oh. Hopefully everything is going okay with your little one. I heard that your daughter started to get sniffles. And if we pass that on to you, very sorry. It has not been super fun having to watch Cal go through the throes of RSV. I will say that the hardest night, I think we're past the worst of it. Because a couple of nights ago, Steph and I were over at her parents' place, and Cal was sleeping in the room with us, and just listening to him breathe while he was sleeping made me feel miserable. Like, I felt like I was also having symptoms just listening to him breathe. But the problem with babies is you can't do anything. You can't give them, like, the medication to make them feel better, or make the symptoms, alleviate the symptoms, because they're just too damn young. It's really frustrating that all you can do is, like, suck out the snot and give them Tylenol and, like, pat their back to help them cough up the crap. But I digress. I think a couple nights ago was the peak of his symptoms, and he's on the mend now. Still coughing, but it's not nearly as bad as it was. Let's see. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was a murderer. I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. I know what his motive was. Superstar and ultra-hot mega secret love scandal. Reliable sources say that Juan Corrida has been getting in close with the mysterious yet beautiful manager to the stars, Miss A.A. Alcoholics Anonymous, you say? I don't think that's proof, and I don't think it was, like, jealousy or anything. Celeste impacts found by Juan Corrida. Suicide note was hidden. Okay, so Matt on guard does not have a motive, but clearly the motive that Adrian Andrews had was the suicide note that was hidden by Juan Corrida, the person who found Celeste Impacts hanged. So she's got a motive. But strangled with a scarf. Does the Nickel Samurai thing have a scarf? Nickel Samurai doesn't have a scarf. I don't know. I don't think I have evidence that says anything. He didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. That button was torn off of Juan during the fight with Matt. That button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. Ripped from his costume. Is covered in Corrida's blood. Found on guard's Hakama. That button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. And this was ripped from his costume. Ripped from the Jammin' Ninja's costume. And covered in Kurita's blood. But found in Unguard's Hakama. Do we have a picture of Juan Kurita? Because I don't... Okay. Save scum here for a second. Because I'm pretty sure it's got to be something to do with this button. Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence. Nope, 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 nope. Strangled with a scarf. Stabbed with a knife. Maybe. Yep, okay, that was it. This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation. The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died.
And what does that mean?
Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that if it was ripped off of his costume, that it was ripped off of the costume when? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly. Which means it is impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off the victim's already dead body.
Order! Order!
What is the meaning of this, Wright? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We now know this button was not torn off during the fight. So the murderer took the time and effort to purposefully rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it?
Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it?
To frame someone. There is only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Unguard. There is no way anyone would put a bloodied button in their own pants. That's right. Mr. Unguard was set up. By the real killer, of course. Ms. Adrian is a little liar.
What? And the real murder is... Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer then?
Finally. Can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, You can't let your guard down yet. Not until the very end. The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. Unguard, is... my attorney's badge! This bitch. Ms. Adrian Andrews. I choose you, Pikachu. You are Mr. Kurita's killer. What?
Order! Order! Mr. Wright! This is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge?
Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Miss Andrews. How preposterous! You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. Unguard, naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. Then, what about the button that was found in Matt's hakama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. It's not only sentient, but evil! However, if Mr. Unguard was the real killer, there is no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own hakama. The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Unguard's hakama is the person who went to wake him up from his nap, which is you, yet again, Miss Andrews.
I see. What about the empty guitar case?
That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the scene of the crime. Now, who could have known that there was just such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No, But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on that guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at that time.
That's right.
That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of the tomato juice is a different story. Ms. Andrews purposefully left her fingerprints on that glass to show that, yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. And to top it all off, there's this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe that this nickel samurai is Mr. Unguard. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Ms. Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please, stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got her this time.
Miss Andrews.
I refuse to testify. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me.
Well, yes. You are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves.
What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Ungard's room. Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed. Understood? Alright. That's it. That's when Francesca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things looked bad. You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix, but there's still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done? What's wrong, Wright? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence?
What is so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth?
I'm sure you've realized as well, Your Honor, but everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial. Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Carita.
Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Carita?
I believe this may lead me to incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering.
But, Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think?
Maybe so, or maybe not. There is nothing to prove it. There is nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No! She's taking the defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow we've landed in the worst possible situation.
I think we've reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Ms. Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid, definitive proof.
But that's not true.
In this situation, there is only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess.
Recess?
I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter, and at tomorrow's trial...
Tomorrow? We don't have it tomorrow. If we don't get a not guilty verdict today, then... Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial... Please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya...
But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is...
It is not impossible for this trial to continue.
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you...
It's true, Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation was something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony.
Yes, that's very true, but...
Actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and... I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually, when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. Yeah, sick babies are stressful. No RSV for us, fortunately. Good. You get one of these. Fanfare button worked for me, okay, Ryder? Maybe you just needed something to celebrate about. Nah, she gets to continue Persona 5. Which is good for me, because the whole reason why I wanted her to continue it was I've yet to see the DLC, and I also don't want to play through the game again myself. So, anyway. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect. Started getting chills last Tuesday, then my body decided on a New Year's resolution that anything I put in my mouth would liquefy and propel out the other end. Wow. Your body is just so efficient. That's amazing. Wish I could do that. I've done that before. The worst is whenever you have like a complete GI upset and not just like diarrhea or vomiting, but when you have both and you have to figure out which one to do when. That's the worst. I've had that with food poisoning before. It's really funny how food poisoning just like instinctually makes you like hesitant to eat the thing that caused the food poisoning again. I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about just that thing where it's like macaroni and cheese was one of this guy's favorite things to eat, but then he got food poisoning from it, and now just the thought of eating macaroni makes him gag a little bit, and he can't bring himself to do it. Yeah, right? Mac and cheese is the best, as said the rat. But yeah, my thing that gave me food poisoning was I ate unwashed spinach in some enchilada thing that I made whenever I was in pharmacy school. So that was forever ago, maybe 2012, 2013, so like 11 or 12 years ago. But to this day, I hesitate to eat raw spinach if it hasn't been washed, purely because I have that visceral reaction. And while I know more often than not I won't get food poisoning from spinach again, just thinking about that dish that I made, and the dish was like a vegetarian enchilada dish, I will never eat anything like that again, because even the thought of like the consistency of the food makes my stomach upset. So, but I digress. It's amazing how like humans as a species have that just instinct of eating this thing caused me great discomfort, so I know to avoid eating that thing, which is exactly how we've made it this far. As like hunters and gatherers, we would eat the berries off of the bush, and these berries I survived with, but those berries made me throw up. We just learned as a species to avoid those berries. But yeah. I started getting chills last Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. Fortunately, it gave up on that resolution after 5 days, but Texas two-stepped that long, and while driving was not fun. Oh my God, you had that issue driving back to Colorado? Holy shit. I do not envy you. Oh man, that is rough. At the very least, you had a lot of flat road going up that way, and just fasted after breakfast each day. Oh, the breakfast fast. Or the post-breakfast fast. Bright side, at least you lost all that holiday weight. but I'm glad to hear that your GI tract is behaving normally again. I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. I don't know what this is, what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. I think he's a friend. I think it's friendship.
The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please.
That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something. So I went to pour him some juice. When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over.
So you poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony?
I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with the testimony, there's nothing left. I know. Edgeworth, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours?
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and I saw it in that messy state. He was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body? Ah!
What is the meaning of this?
Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There's a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Kurita's chest. Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought that here was a dead man. Well, you see, I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted, and then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink.
Your point is?
Ms. Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly. That you are the real killer. No!
It looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Matt Ungard, is not guilty after all.
But that's impossible. You're wrong.
Miss Andrews, try to have some composure.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I'm telling you.
It was Matt. I swear it. He was the one who killed Juan. But you were the one who refused to testify, and your reason for not doing so was that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because...
Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you?
I refuse to testify.
Then there is no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Matt Unguard's innocence has been clearly demonstrated.
Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix?
Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't.
Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Matt Unguard.
Your Honor, the prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time.
What?
The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth.
The absolute real truth? What are you...
Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt Unguard will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Francesca Von Karma. Huh? Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrew lives by gripping tightly onto the wounds of another, because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then, right now, Miss Andrews is... Yesterday, she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss Von Karma. Don't say a word, no matter what happens. If you do, Matt Unguard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, and is clinging on to them. Then, what should we do? This is the first time I've come across anything like this. But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is get our not guilty. That's my only priority. It wasn't me. I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help. Please. Someone. Help me.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor?
The court can't continue on like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do.
What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Right. I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the woman crying over there. Right? Come on now. What will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around it. Alright, hold on. I gotta let the little girl in. Did you feed the puppos yet? chilly. Little girl, it is chilly out there.
Whoo, boy, it is chilly. Oh, come on now. Let me take a look at this. 11 inches of snow on Thursday. No fucking way. I need to see this. Let's see. Heavy snow, heavy snow. Snow, snow, light note, snow. I don't know, man. We will see. But I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you are really hiding.
Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing?
Sure, Mr. Ungard would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. In this... Is this how you really want this trial to end? Be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me!
That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense's theory is the truth.
You're wrong. What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this, however.
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Stop.
Mr. Edgeworth?
This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. What? And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past. Stop! Please stop! No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. That's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. What will you do now, witness? You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of this pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please stop! I beg you! If people find out, I'll... If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips. Yeah, Edgeworth is a cold stone motherfucker. Holy shit. No matter what I have to do. So, will you tell the court yourself, or shall I? Either is fine with me. I'll talk, but please, help me. Nothing matters anymore. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted. Honest. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. And then, I stabbed Juan's dead body with a knife,
and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the nickel samurai costume.
Stabbed the body with the knife? But why would you do that?
Isn't it obvious? To pin the blame on a certain person. A certain cowardly man.
What do you mean by all this?
It might take this court a little while to understand, but this is the truth. The real killer is Matt, that scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Last time? So, Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Corrida, in the chest with a knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Mr. Matt on guard for the murder. And this is her crime. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer?
Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination.
Okay. But you could tell from the state the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say that you did not know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck. Well, that scarf is a part of the Jammin' Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up, and went to pour the juice. What is this plan you had? I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because Juan, he was going to expose Matt's weak point in the world. So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt. So the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the button. The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. That was so you could get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at that time. There's something strange about her face in this. It's surprisingly plain for a Phoenix Wright game. I don't know, it just seems very flat. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. And then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience.
The killer had buttonophilia!
So you were the one to stab the victim with that knife. It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. But at the time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then, when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I used the button somehow, I could make Matt look even more suspect. So, you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it in Mr. Unguard's hakama. Yes, that's what I had planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they? Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. An inconvenience? There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway. I'm willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta. There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth. That's Miss Oldbag for you. I had already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. You were the one who prepared the costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the award ceremony. You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct? Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there.
And what is this secret?
That I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case.
Morph ballphilia.
I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume.
I think we've heard enough. So, after that, you went back to Mr. Ungard's room and planted the button.
Into Matt's Hakama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. Then I snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it.
My word, what does all this mean?
Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Ungard. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Francesca, huh? She said that I should, under no circumstances, confess to what I've done. That if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words.
With this witness, what this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain that she is not the real killer.
Wait, Your Honor. The defense still... Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Ms. Andrews on anything.
Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of this witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright.
But...
Mr. Edgeworth, please place Ms. Andrews under arrest for further questioning.
Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately.
That is all. Court is adjourned for today.
Maya's gonna die! Whoops. I meant to play this one. GH.
I can't believe you've done this.
Yeah. Today's trial. It's over. And I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I asked you something? Edgeworth? What is it? Before you leave court today, I wondered if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It's had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Oh, this? Mr. Wright also asked about this. It's a conch. Although I don't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright, I remembered just now. I found this in the room on that day. The room? That day? Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body.
See, look, like, there's something about this face versus the one where she's looking at Matt on guard sleeping that just feels like two different art styles. The first face is just so flat, but this one is a lot more, like, expressive and of its own style. I don't know.
It was lying right next to him. You found that card next to the victim's body? I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right?
Yeah, I guess not, but it's still a strange card if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why.
Witness that card! Give it to me! Hurry!
Edgeworth?
Do you have any idea what you have stupidly yet inadvertently done? This! I can't believe you hid this from me all this time!
I didn't mean to. What is this all about?
I've never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. Not even at his own trial?
That card. What in the world is it? And what does it mean?
Maya dies. Hooray! Do you think I would have time to continue on to...
I mean, you can save at any time.
Yeah. Trying to find a nice stopping point. This is a nice stopping point, but I don't know that I want to stop just yet.
Yeah. I mean, you're starting to head into the, climax of the trial.
Yeah, and just looking at this this guide, looks like there's some investigation that's split up into two parts. I think I have enough time to do one of the two parts. And then we'll call it a night.
Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya!
There, Pearls.
I can't take it anymore.
Look, it'll be all right. Everything may still work out. No!
Why? Why is this happening to me? Why? It's over.
All right, hold on. Let me get the Joy-Con. It's like my controller heard me talking about ending, and it's like, oh, yeah. This boy's little hand reaching out for everything is stinking adorable. What's he reaching out for now? I like whenever he reaches out because he wants to be picked up. Come here, little boy. Little girl. Come here. Take it. Monkeys! Somebody come up here. I want a puppy. Somebody. I moved this table too close to the back, huh? Oh. J. Mark is playing Ace Attorney, the Investigations Collection. You added that to your wish list, right? That's the Edgeworth game? You should. Oh, damn. You know what I should have worn today? Hold on 1 second. I got something to show you guys that Ryder got me for Christmas. Hold on. Alright, I'm back. So, Radder got me something for Christmas that is Phoenix Wright related, and I would have worn it, but I wore it for whenever we visited her parents. But you can get this shirt too on fangamer.com. And there's also one with Phoenix on it. But everybody knows that Edgeworth is best boy, so I requested the Edgeworth shirt. Edgy boy! Alright, back to it. The condition that we had was to get a not guilty verdict. And so far, the kidnapper has kept his word and hasn't hurt Maya. And he won't because Mr. Ungard hasn't been given a guilty sentence yet. Cheer up! We don't have any time to stand around crying. We have to get going. You're right. Mystic Maya is in much more pain than I am. Yes, that's right. So... Hey, you guys! Glad I caught up to you, pal. Mr. Scruffy Detective? Oh boy, looks like Detective Gumshoe has been dubbed Mr. Scruffy Detective in Pearl's book now. It's just plain old Mr. Dick Gumshoe now, and I came to talk to you, pal. But we're kind of busy right now. So, what are you going to do from now on? What do you mean, pal? Well, you've been fired, right? So, do you have a new job lined up yet? Oh, that! What am I supposed to do now, pal? I don't have anything coming in at all until my next payday. What are you talking about? You don't have another payday. I guess that means I'm just gonna have to work here at your place, pal. Say what? You'll be searching for things that will prove Mr. Ungod's innocence all day, right? Well, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna help you, pal. I got lots of experience in investigating and watching over people's places. And I'm great at making really simple meals, pal. I'll take care of it all. Come on, Mr. Nick. Let Mr. Scruffy Detective take care of things. Okay. By the way, what's your best dish? Instant noodles, pal. Why am I surrounded by people who can only eat cheap, unhealthy foods? That was the first time I ever seen Mr. Edgeworth act like that. Never thought he'd say something like that. He didn't care if Miss Andrews killed herself. He said that? That's horrible. But because of him doing that, we got the truth finally. Gumshoe plays raw man. The truth. Miss Andrews' last testimony. I wonder if it was the truth. I'll give you that there was nothing strange in her testimony itself, but I still think there's something fundamentally wrong with the whole thing. You mean about that thing, pal? Why would she need to... No. I mean, almost need to frame Mr. Ungard. I couldn't figure that out from anything she said at all. Then you're saying that testimony was a lie? Not a lie, per se. It just feels like there's more here than meets the eye. Or that's what Edgeworth would like us to believe. That's such a dirty trick! Even that woman prosecutor was better than that! Francesca Von Karma. Speaking of Miss Von Karma, do you have any more information on her condition? Wasn't she shot this morning? Miss Von Karma was shot today on the way to the trial by a pistol, pal. But she's gonna be fine, right? I mean, Edgeworth said she was in stable condition, but, well, she was shot in the shoulder, so she's okay and still hanging in there. They should be done taking the bullet out, so she's probably resting at the hospital. Which one? What? Are you gonna visit her, pal? No. Well, I was kind of thinking about it. Hey, you actually got a heart, don't you? She looked like she was being tortured to death not being able to go to trial today. So maybe it'd be good for her if you went and let her whip you for a bit, pal. Let her whip us, Mr. Nick! No. Now I'm definitely not going. Let's see. The name of the hospital. Oh yeah, the Hardy Clinic. That name sends a chill down my spine. Well, I guess it can't hurt to stop by and say hi. Let's go to the Hardy Clinic! Ooh, is our buddy gonna be here? Never thought I'd come back to this place. Yeah, are you here to visit a patient? Wait a second. You're... Oh, yeah, I'm Director Hardy. Why are you still here? Oh, yeah, what is it? Can I help you? You can tell me. Yeah. Director Hardy. Edgeworth? Oh, yeah, I'm Director Hardy. Oh, you're the man from this morning. Yeah, what is it?
Director Francesca. How is Francesca von Karma? You don't need to worry. She's in good hands. Because you see, I'm personally taking good care of her. Yeah. Oh, yes, and that surgery, it went well. You have my gratitude. It looks like Edgeworth doesn't know about this director and his secret. She looks so pitiful, absolutely terrified. Oh, yeah. But I understand, yes, her opponent was a goon after all. And when I snuck up on her real secret like, she would scream really loud. Yeah. I see. But she's really cute too. When I do that, she whipped me with her whip. Boy, did I cry like a baby. Yes, but I think I could get used to it. Go back to your room. Oh, you're so mean. So mean, my frisky Francesca. My frisky Frisca. Was that? Oh! Okay. It's time for my IV drops.
What's wrong? He's a pervert! Or do you not like the fact that I'm capable of making those sounds?
Oh, yeah.
What, Banjo? You don't like that?
And what are those tulips doing in your hands, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
I shouldn't have come here.
I've a shot in front of the courthouse in my right shoulder. But it's no big deal.
Sounded like, pervy Mr. Mackey.
Drunks are bad. Yes. But it's no big deal. This sort of thing happens all the time. I even had full intentions of running this trials this morning. But that would have been too much for you.
There's no need to act tough in front of us, you know.
Regardless, I was dragged here by that man over there. He was so unyielding. One has to wonder if he was simply interested in stealing my case. It was the only logical course of action, given the bullet was still lodged in your shoulder. But by taking over the case, I found myself having to clean up after you and that irresponsible deal you made.
I think I know what deal he's referring to. Miss Von Karma, you made a deal with Miss Andrews yesterday, didn't you?
I don't know what you mean.
In order to make sure you got your guilty verdict on Mr. Ungard, you told Miss Andrews to not testify in court today.
I don't know what you're talking about. Do you have proof that I made such a deal?
You're denying it?
It looks like you are lucky, Mr. Phoenix Wright. If I had been in court today, this trial would be over already.
All while hiding Miss Andrews' own crime?
That isn't my problem. Whether she had tampered with the evidence or not, I have only one objective: to find Ungard guilty of murder. The end justifies the means, Mr. Phoenix Wright. The end justifies the means.
Miss Von Karma. Adrian Andrews believed when you said, if you don't tell the truth or of what really happened, then Ungard will be found guilty.
And what does it have to do with me?
Because of that, she is now in danger of being found guilty herself. All because she believed in your words until the very end.
That still has nothing to do with me. She's just a weak person. That's all. But you have to know she was... Ah! I think visiting hours are about over. So if you'll excuse me... What's wrong? Why did she suddenly cut you off? Probably because she thinks I had the advantage in that argument. Edgeworth. What happened today at the trial, Edgeworth? That was not like you at all. I mean, I know you knew about Ms. Andrews' condition. You could have made her testify as many times as you wanted, but to go that far... but she wouldn't testify about that until I said something. Listen, Wright. The courtroom is a garden of judgment. I am putting myself on the line when I stand in there. And that's why I made the witness do the same. It's only natural. By the way, Edgeworth, you were really angry in court today. That's rare for you. Witness! That card! Give it to me! Hurry! Do you have any idea what you have stupidly yet inadvertently done? This. I can't believe you hid this from me all this time! That card. What in the world is it? You mean this? Listen, Wright. This is top secret information. You absolutely cannot leak this. The Special Investigations Team has existed for a number of years, but few know of it. I understand. Their task is to find the owner of this card. A man called Shelley the Killer. And just as his name states, he is a killer, an assassin. The best at that. An assassin? Alright. So, who is this Shelley the Killer? The Killer is the name of a long-standing line of assassins. Long-standing? The name first appeared about 100 years ago, I hear. Shelley is the professional name of the third heir to the killer name. So, because his professional name is Shelley, he leaves cards with a shell on them? He has a habit of making sure to leave a card by the body of his victims. Why would he do something like that? We think it's part of his duty to his clients. His duty. If he leaves a card, then his clients can be assured it was he who killed the victim. It also serves as insurance against any charges being pushed onto his clients. I see. The killer values the trust between his clients and himself above all else. It seems that this is one honorable assassin with a moral conscience. I guess that even honorable assassins can exist. So you think this assassin... You think he's the one who did the killing in this case? It would appear that way. The discovery of this card basically confirms it, wouldn't you agree? Shelley the Killer, huh? I noticed something at trial today. You were behaving in a very strange manner. Is something the matter? I guess I should just tell him. Maya, she's been kidnapped. Kidnapped? What does the kidnapper want?
An acquittal. I see. I had no idea. I will prepare a rescue team as soon as possible and resolve this by tomorrow.
Really? You hear that, Mr. Nick? Mr. Edgeworth is going to...
Stop trying to console me, Edgeworth. I don't need your pity.
Mr. Nick?
There's no way you can find her. We don't have even a single lead to go on. There's only one way to save her. I have to get an acquittal somehow. It's the only way. Right. Listen, you need to know something. Juan Corrida was killed by Shelly the Killer, and the client who ordered the job is Matt on guard. Your own client. Please, stop. I can't listen to you. I can't believe that. That's interesting. So, well, if somebody hires an assassin and the assassin kills somebody, are they both guilty of murder? Or I guess would that be what they call like murder in the second degree? He would at least be complicit. Conspiring to murder. But conspiring to murder means that, like, the murder didn't actually take place, though, right? But yeah. I guess that's murder in the second degree? I don't know. Please, stop. I can't listen to you. I can't believe that. I see. Well, if you want to continue your investigation, you will need this.
What is it?
The hotel right now is restricted to police personnel only, as we are looking for any clues that might lead us to Shelly the Killer. But if you take this with you to the hotel, I'm sure they will let you enter. Letter of introduction. In any case, I must attend to the preparations for Maya's rescue team. We'll meet again if anything should happen. Now, if you'll excuse me...
Mr. Nick? Do you think Mr. Ungard hired an assassin?
No way! I mean, he doesn't have a Cyclock.
Yeah, I guess not.
Maya, please. All I ask is you make it home safe and sound. Date, question mark. Time, question mark. Location, a question mark. Alright, I'm going to take one last quick break. I got a pee-pees, and then I will be right back. Give me 1 second.
You miss space, huh? Space is dead and gone. You just have to deal with it, Toko. Just deal with it. He'll be back next week. Yeah, he does keep the chat going, doesn't he? That one's not so great, Shiner. Shiner is s'more. Chocolate and marshmallow ale. Doesn't translate very well. I don't think chocolate ales work very well. They have to be chocolate stouts. Anyways.
I guess even kidnappers can be a little clumsy. Clumsy enough to drop a card like this for me. And even though he said he was an assassin, I bet he's just making that up, like how Nick does with everything in court. Anyway, let's try out the card trick with this card I just found. Click! Sounds like I got the door open. Okay, time to go take a look around.
Time for the carrier. Let's see, bear on sofa, picture on table, satellite dish, door.
What is this place? I've got a feeling I'm not in the hotel anymore. Are those videos over there? Well, I'll worry about that later. For now, I should be looking for clues. That way I can show them to Sis and maybe get out of here. Ugh! Locked. Of course. And it doesn't look like I can use this card to open this door. There's a little hole at the bottom of the door. If only I was a little skinnier, then maybe I could be able to crawl through here. That's weird. What's a figurine doing on a sofa in a place like this? Figurine? I think it's a bear. Aw, how cute. But it's got a lot of cuts and slits on it. I wonder if it's some kind of puzzle or something. It's so dark in here I can barely see, but these kind of feel like videotapes. All of them. Just what kind of room is this? Does anybody know what a videotape is that's watching this on the VOD? I know all three people watching this right now live know what a VHS is. But I'm curious, does anybody know what a videotape is anymore? What's a satellite dish doing in the middle of a room? Let's see what Maya has to say. What is this thing? An antenna, I guess? And this is a VCR? There sure are a lot of electronic gadgets here. But what is this antenna doing here? Oh, hey! It's a computer! I've never really used one before. I have no idea where the power switch on this thing is. Analog recording of digital broadcast, right? And just like looking at that computer and the size of the computer tower next to it, like these are all different eras of technology. This computer is like late 90s, early 2000s. CDs are the 90s and early 2000s. VHS is 80s and 90s. And then satellite dish is 80s and 90s. And then look at this speaker. That's 80s, 90s. VCR is definitely 80s and 90s. Wow, I've never seen a TV this big before. Now where's the power button? Click! Phooey. It's busted! I would so die a Happy Samurai fan if I ever got to see the Nickel Samurai on a TV like this. Ah! I can't believe I made a joke about dying, all things considered. There's a framed picture sitting on the coffee table. Wait a second.
Wait a second. That's the lady that Adrian Andrews was like super horny about. The lady with an X in her name. It's a picture of a woman. She's kind of pretty. Hey, looks like something's written here. Let's see. I think it says, "With love, Celeste." That's it. Celeste in X or something like that. I bet this could be a clue. Oh, this simply will not do. I cannot have you wandering around at will. Yeah! It seems that your Mr. Wright is truly concerned about you. Here's. For now, I would suggest you remain cooperative. If you cannot, there are ways in which I can help you. Ways? You mean... Dead men tell no tales is how the saying goes, correct? Dead? I'm almost certain I told you on our first meeting I am an assassin. No way. You're lying. I mean, an assassin? People are not always who they appear to be. Nick! Little boy seems upset. March 22nd, 7:04 p.m. Hottie Clinic, reception. Mr. Nick? Oh, yes, Pearls? I got caught up in my thoughts about Maya's situation. Mr. Edgeworth has left. Mr. Edgeworth has left, you know. I guess for now I have no choice but to believe in Mr. Ungard. But I think I should listen to his story once more. Alright, let's get going too. Okay! March 22nd, Detention Center, Visitor's Room. I'm sorry, but visiting hours are over for today. Aw. There are too many questions I need to ask. I'm sorry, but I'm Phoenix Wright, a lawyer for one of the... You're Mr. Wright, you say? Oh, yeah. There's a message here for you. A message? It's from Matt on guard. Yeah. There you go. What did he write? Is it something really important? I don't know. Well, let's see what he has to say. To Mr. Lawyer Dude, I've got something really important to tell you. Why do I feel uneasy all of a sudden? Oh, Mr. Wright! So, actually, I have a favor to ask of you. I have this cat named Shu. I didn't put out a lot of food when I left home, so he's probably pretty hungry. Do you think you could drop by my house and feed Shu for me, dude? My house is just a little ways down from the hotel, right? This is terrible! Let's hurry! We have to feed his cat! I'm sure poor Shu's stomach is growling by now. A cat named Shu is real good. Yeah, I guess. Cat Shu. It's so dumb, I love it. A client's request is a request. Guess I should go check up on his cat. Ugh.
March 22nd, Gatewater Hotel, hotel lobby.
All right, Mr. Nick. Let's go look for clues. We have to, for Mystic Maya's sake. You shall not pass. Miss Oldbag! Don't devalue my name and turn it into gasp, you spiky-headed pettifogger!
Whoa. Harsh language.
Because of you, I've been made to look like the bad guy again. Although I did get a piece of gum from Edgy Boy. Just as he promised. Something much more valuable. I wanted Edgy Boy's heart. It's all your fault! You've awakened the beast inside of this old bag. Yeah!
And she's dead.
Miss Oldbag! Keep your hands off me! This helmet is airtight. No air gets in and no air gets out.
Why do you keep putting it on?
Don't think you can get me to move with silly questions. You're gonna have to defeat me if you want to get by.
I'm not hearing this.
Ha! You're a million light years too early to be asking me questions, whippersnapper.
It looks like the only way I'm gonna get any investigating done is to first do something about this kooky alien. Sure is dark.
I'll go turn on the light.
Whoa, what the fuck? Wow. So this is what a star's house looks like. Must be nice to be rich.
Come on, Mr. Nick. Let's find Shoo the kitty cat. Shoo! Meow. So I guess this is Shoo. Oh, what a lovely cat. Hello, Shoo. Meow. Tee-hee.
The cat seems to like pearls. May I help you with something, mister? Oh, we're lawyers. Actually, I'm Mr. On-Guard's lawyer. Oh, the masters. Then you must be Mr. Wright. Yes. Ah, it's a pleasure to meet your wonderful self. I am the family butler, John Doe. Nice to meet you. Meow. You must know all sorts of things about Mr. On-Guard, right? Honestly, sir, I don't believe my master is capable of such a foul deed as murder. And, anything else? No, not especially. It's not appropriate for a lowly servant to speak of the master of his affairs. How typically butler-like, as it were. Mr. Doe, how long have you served at this residence? Well, sir, I would have to say maybe about 1 year. And, anything else? No, not especially. It's not appropriate for a lowly servant to speak of himself and his affairs. You know, I would have thought Mr. On-Guard the kind to have a maid over a butler. That's a very cute cat you've got here. It's my duty to take care of him. The master rather fancies Shoo. And, anything else? No, not especially. It's not appropriate for a lowly servant to speak of the family cat. Well, then I guess I don't need this piece of scrap paper anymore. Well, I'm afraid I must take my leave of you now. Oh, we should probably get going ourselves. So young and yet already so accomplished, a master of law. But there's also a lot to be proud of in being a butler, in charge of the house and all. Thank you for the compliment, sir. People are not always who they appear to be. Now, if you'll excuse me... Meow, says Shoo. Okay. Good question. Why would the butler not be there feeding the cat?
Unless he wasn't the butler. Why wouldn't Matt on guard know his own butler?
Maybe if I show her this letter I got from Edgeworth. Miss Oldbag, if you would look at...
What? You want me to look at this wordless piece of... Edgy poo!
Is that her perfume pheromone d'amore smell? Hey, what's up? Suitcase?
Hi, doggy.
How does Phoenix not remember his face, this face in the event before Maya got kidnapped? It looks like mysterious.
Let's see here. Would you please allow this unsophisticated young person to conduct his investigation? Yours truly, Miles Edgeworth.
Yours truly?
That man's good at flattery. Fine, but only because Edgy Poo said so. You understand? I just thought of something I have to do. Remember, no messing around. You do anything bad, and I won't let you off the hook. It looks like she has strong feelings for Mr. Edgeworth. Edgeworth.
Maybe, but you know, nothing's going to come of it.
That's so mean, Nick. Feelings are meant to be told and shared. Ow.
Every time we talk about love, I always end up with a handprint on my face somehow. What if Mysterio's illusion was that he was an old lady? Old lady!
Okay. Ah! What? What now? One little thing, before I forget. You can't go to Unguard's room today. Why? The police mains investigation team is gonna be in there all day, you hear?
I wonder if they're the team in charge of investigating the killer.
So don't go in there! Set one foot in there and you'll face the wrath of Wendy Oldbag!
Okay. March 22nd, Gatewater Hotel, Viola Hall. Looks like we're the only ones here.
And yet, the hotel seems so busy somehow.
Ryder says it's gross that all the food's set out. Yeah, I agree. Probably because the police team is scouring for clues about the killer. March 22nd, Gatewater Hotel, hallway.
Hey, city boy!
Lotta, you're still here.
Reckon course! An investigative photographer eats or starves on her ability to snap up the scoop, yeah? And this hotel just has that aura of mystery. You know, like something's always about to happen. But, do you have a camera? Rick Given! A photographer's gotta have cameras out the ear like corn to be a real pro, you know? So I'm hanging around here. Speaking of cameras and feeding them out, do you have mine, you bread thief?
Why can't you drop that thief thing already? I want to ask you about the night of the murder.
What? You really gonna shell out the bucks for that info I got?
Lotta, you were loitering in this hallway the night of the murder, were you not?
Well, kinda, but...
Brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes.
I didn't exactly hang around here the entire time, you know? Followed a few stars around, got a few autographs, shook a few hands, had a sody pop with a few of them too.
Looks like she wasn't here the entire time that night.
The security lady also wasn't in the hallway the whole time either. I guess this means there's no one who can tell...
Oh, I guess this means there's no one who can tell us who came and went that night.
So, about that note that was inside your camera case. Oh, that ditty I wrote?
Yeah. Can I believe what you've written?
You mean the stuff about Unguard shoving his manager lady on Corrito? Yeah. Oh, well, I reckon you best not be believing that. What? Look, I sort of wrote that on a whim, you know? Writing whatever came to mind. Whatever came to mind? Yeah, when you get down to it, it's just a lot of random bull dooders. Hey, what's with you? Why are you staring at me like my grandpa used to? Hey, and why do you look like you suddenly got older too? Or am I just shrinking here? Ah, my baby! My $1,600 baby! What's with that red-coated prosecutor anyhow? That guy told me it was evidence and refused to give it back to me. Well, that's kind of how it is. Hey, you're that redcoat's friend, ain't you? So put in a few good words for me and get my camera back. You want me to do what? Listen, nag the guy real good for about 5 hours and I guarantee he'll give it back. Why don't you do your own dirty work? Well, I reckon it's time for me to get going. Tabloid photographer without a camera is just a tabloid, huh? Yeah, I guess so. Keep yourself together out there, you hear? I'm coming to see you in court tomorrow. Okay, I'll see you then. And you too there, little one. Keep up the good work, okay? Okay. Don't be picky about your food now. Okay. And make sure to do all your homework, you hear? Okay. And if you happen to find yourself a camera, make sure you... Would you please just leave already? Okay.
March 22nd, Gatewater Hotel, Corrida's home hotel room. Oong!
Mr. Nick!
Ooh, what is that otherworldly, ghastly moaning?
Grr. I hate evil ghosts!
I don't think it's a ghost. Maybe it's a demon?
Excuse me? What are you calling a demon, brat? Ah! Zoinks! It's the alien! Who are you calling an alien?
Oh, it's just you, Miss Oldbag. What are you doing here?
What is wrong with you youngins today? I came down here to pay my respects to poor Juan and you're disturbing me!
Please talk to me about the night of the murder. Just one more time.
I talked about it plenty at the trial. I was fooled, tricked, deceived by that fraud of a photographer and her note. She was loitering around here with that imbecilic look on her face. With that imbecilic look on her face? Okay, got it. Now, hold on a second. You little pipsqueak. If you're gonna take notes, at least make me sound better than that. Oh, alright. Now I've seen everything. But you know, I was working that night too, doing my job, minding my own business. So it's not like I had time to waste around standing around here the whole night.
I was wondering if you could tell me a bit more about Mr. Corrida?
He was the most popular star, you know, especially where it counts. In my book.
But I heard that he was lagging behind in the polls against Mr. Unguard.
Well, that was just a recent thing. Bad luck and all that, you know. But he was going to become an even bigger star than he used to be. Look, just look at the mountain of presents. It's a show of the mountains of feelings all the fans had for him.
Yeah, the mountain is pretty big and certainly nothing to shake a stick at.
Mr. Nick?
What is it, Pros?
The presents. They're all bears, right?
She's got a point. There isn't a single thing here that isn't a bear. Huh, there was a bear on that couch in the place where Maya's being kept.
All of Mr. Kurita's presents from his fans seem to be bears. Oh, that's because you can't think of Juan without thinking about bears. Bears? Why bears? You don't know? When my dear Juan was training, he fought bare-handed with a bear. He refused to give in and let the bear win, but after the fight, they became friends. Wow, what a heartwarming story. Look, it's just like in those young people's dramas. I can see those two tuckered out down by a river going, you sure can fight.
You too, bub. You too.
Did all that really happen?
It's in his biography, bub.
What a load of crock.
So ever since then, fans have been giving him bears as presents.
Yeah, nice. Bears.
I'm Uncle Bear, and I say it's barely 8 o'clock.
What is that infernal racket?
It's one of the presents going off. Sounds like it's already 8 p.m. Way past your bedtime.
That startled me. Thought I was going to die for a second. 8 p.m. That's the time when the award ceremony ended that night, remember? Time sure flies. Hard to believe it's been 2 days since the ceremony. The transceiver. Hello? Hello?
This is not a phone.
Maya! How's Maya? You haven't heard her, have you?
It seems you are not able to fulfill your end of the bargain, Mr. Attorney. I have heard the news. So it would seem my present did you no good.
No, Mr. Maya, Mr. Maya!
One more day, please. All I ask is one more day. I'll get the not guilty verdict for sure this time, please.
I suppose if I must. I need that acquittal more than anything else, after all.
Please, let Maya say something. I want to hear she's all right.
All right.
Then, a little. What is with all this static all of a sudden?
Hello? Hello?
It seems his pads connect.
Damn it, did the receiver just suddenly break?
Excuse me.
Beep. What happened? I don't know. All of a sudden became nothing but static.
Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya!
Why did the transceiver suddenly break like that? I should probably have an electronics expert look at it. The sooner the better. March 22nd, Wright and Company Law Offices. Hey! Welcome back, pal! Thought I'd make you a little something for dinner. That's nice. Thanks. A rich man's luxurious full-course meal out of a can, that is. I'm sorry you went through all the trouble to cook, but I don't have the time to eat. Oops! Looks like you don't have a can opener, pal. You gotta be kidding. And here I thought he had already whipped something up. Oh, I know! Here's one way I know how to be helpful. Ask me about anything you want, pal. Go ahead. Well, since he's here and offering, I wonder what I should try asking him about. Apparently I'm supposed to do this. The transceiver? Oh, Mr. Nick. You should ask Mr. Scruffy, detective, about that thing. What? What thing? Oh yeah, this thing just up and broke all of a sudden. It broke, pal? When I was talking to the kidnapper, it just suddenly broke into static. Look, it sounded like this. I don't hear any static, pal. Huh? Maybe it fixed itself. That's strange. I'm sure it was making loud static noise. Maybe... Maybe what?
Maybe it was electromagnetic interference, pal. Electromagnetic interference? So what is electromagnetic interference? It's something that happens when a radio wave gets mixed up with another signal, pal. Oh, when you put it that way. I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, for example, when a cell phone goes off next to a computer screen, the stuff on the screen gets kind of fuzzy and starts acting funny, right? Huh? Computer? It's like when you use the dryer next to the TV and the screen starts looking weird. Oh, yeah, the TV does that. Oh, so that's what you're talking about. She seems amazingly happy at being able to understand this. So the room you were in when the interference, when that interference to the transceiver happened, there's gotta be something there that's sending out very strong radio waves, pal. Something like a listening device or something. Ah! Hey, speaking of that, where were you when it happened? We were in Mr. Kurita's room. The scene of the murder. What? That's it. I'm gonna sneak into the precinct and get a bug sweeper. I'll meet you at the crime scene later, alright, pal? Wait, Gumshoe. Oh yeah, baby, it's investigating time. I'm on fire, pal. My fingers are itching to go. Yeah! We should get going too, Mr. Nick. Alright, let's go. Whoops. Wow, everybody looks really busy with something or other. They're probably strengthening their evidence for tomorrow's trial. Hey, hurry up with that, will you? Pass the victims list around. You gotta be kidding. There's over 100 people here. Mr. Nick? Is Mr. Ungard really that big and bad of a criminal? Actually, Pearls? Never mind. It sounds like they're working on a different case. March 22nd, Gatewater Hotel, Corrida's hotel room. Hey, you finally here, pal. Sorry to keep you waiting. Do you have the, bug sweeper? It's like when you put your Nokia next to your speaker and it goes grrrr. Well, you see, I got busted trying to sneak it in, pal. Then suddenly, I'm staring at the precinct doors. From the outside, I mean. So, yeah, I couldn't get one of the police bug sweepers. What do you mean you couldn't get one? We need that item. Hey, calm down, pal. I didn't say I didn't get one, just not the police's. Wow, so this is a bug sweeper? It looks a little broken. Hey, this was made when I was in elementary school, pal. Oh? By who? Me, of course! See, this shit brings back memories. Hey, don't look down on it, pal. Sure, it looks a little beat up, but I put my heart and soul into building this puppy here. Your heart and soul? It'll work. Trust me, pal. It'll do the job. But you can't set the sensitivity. So it's gonna beep at anything that gives off electromagnetic waves. But isn't it better that way? Well, anyway, since I brought it all this way, might as well give it a whirl. Right, pal? I'm getting that sinking feeling again. Okay, now I'll tell you how to use this baby. As a listening device, or
some sort of bug hidden in this room, pal.
So we're gonna find it, right?
Right. Now first, let's start on the sweeper. Next, move the sweeper around to give the room a real thorough look-see, pal. The sweeper will let you know how strong of a signal it's picking up, so keep an eye out, okay? Once you find something that's giving off a lot of radio waves, press the A button to lock onto it. There's a lot of things here that give off radio waves, so let's take a good look at anything and everything that seems suspicious, okay, pal? Alright, I'm gonna go stand outside and keep an eye out. Give me a yell if you find a bug. Got it, pal?
Ah! What a lovely bear! Ah!
Ah! This must be one of those fancy bear-shaped toy robots.
It's a robot? It's a real robot?
Yeah, it's a real one.
Mr. Nick,
Yes?
how many horsepowers is it? How many horsies?
Horsies? Well, look, it's a bear, so, Lamp check. Listening device. Nope.
There are a lot of lamps in this room, aren't there, Mr. Nick?
Yeah.
They're all on.
You shouldn't do that, Mr. Nick.
Don't you know that's wasteful?
Yeah, I'll be more conscientious from now on. Sorry. I don't really think the listening device is in the TV of all places.
Looks like the TV was left on and is now showing an old samurai movie.
Yeah. This channel plays all sorts of international movies, as well as domestic ones.
You know, every time I watch one of those old movies, I always think, wow, these Japanese stars are really good at English.
Yeah.
When I grow up, I want to study Japanese.
I should probably keep my mouth shut here and not destroy your dream.
The radio's on and playing something. Oh, it's Kids Question Corner. Professor, why is the Earth round? Yes, why is it, Mr. Nick?
Why don't you listen to the radio program a little more, Pearls? Slide to the left.
This is a refrigerator, right?
I really don't think the listening device is in something like this.
Because it's filled with nothing but healthy vegetable juices, right?
Yeah, sure. What does that have to do with listening devices? There's no listening device in the notebook computer, huh?
What's a notebook computer?
Do you know what a notebook is?
Yes, it's a small book with paper so you can write on, so?
Well, that thing is like a notebook in a way. It's basically a small laptop.
Mr. Nick, it's a laptop.
It's the TV's remote control, but it doesn't look like the listening device is in here.
So I was thinking, I wonder if a TV remote works on other things, like, could I make you change your expressions like TV channels? Zap! Hey!
But I could. Oh, the people I would give the old mute button to. Well, I don't think it's gonna work on me. Why don't we try it on Maya tomorrow, okay?
Okay.
Well, it certainly looks like an alarm clock.
What's wrong? Why do you look troubled?
Just can't imagine a listening device being sent inside this alarm clock. It just, sort of reminded me of something that happened a long time ago.
Oh.
Well, anyways, it looks like the listening device isn't in here.
This is a giant stuffed teddy bear, right? It's the biggest one I've ever seen.
Hey, so did you guys find it yet? The listening device, I mean.
No, not yet. But this bare eye is... Let's see. A perfectly normal stuffed bear with some really strong radio waves. Sounds like you found the device to me, pal. Let's dig this big fella's eye out and see what we got. No, you can't! Such a violent act. Ugh. Rip. No! It's a miniature camera. It looks like there's more. There's a transmitter and a timer. Oh, what emitter? A transmitter, pal. Oh, is that more of that high-tech stuff? So this tiny thing is a camera? Yup. It's a pinhole CCD camera, pal. It's a small, high-grade video camera mostly used in security systems. So it's a video camera. It runs on a battery, which comes with it in its set. But there's no videotape in this camera. This is the only camera part here, pal. The tape recorder with the tape inside it is somewhere else. Somewhere else? The footage is changed into radio waves and then it's sent to that recorder. So it's sort of like a TV broadcast, isn't it? Hey, you know you're right. Set to record the victim's room from 8 p.m. for 1 hour. Was running at time of murder. Interesting, because that button or the autopsy says the time of death was like 8:15 or something. Damn. So, what is a transmitter? It's a device that sends the footage the camera took to a specific destination. It's like a video version of the listening device, pal. It looks like it's attached to a small clock-like thing. Oh, that's the timer, pal. You can set it to turn the camera on and record at a certain time with it. You can set it for a certain time? Yup. Let's see. This looks like it was set to start at 8 p.m. and go for 1 hour. 8 p.m. That was the time the award ceremony ended. There's no date set, so it's been recording every night, I guess. Mr. Detective, how long has this bear been here? I'm pretty sure it's been here since the night of the murder. Then maybe this camera caught the murder on tape. What? And if you think about the angle the bear is at, it's bound to have a clear shot at the whole crime, pal. Changes the footage taken by the spy camera into radio waves and transmits data. So there was a camera in this bear's eye? And it was disguised as a present? And I'm sure it was here on the night of the murder, pal. It's pretty big, so it stands out pretty well in my mind. But who gave Mr. Kurita the present? I don't know, pal. But this means that someone out there has got a video of what happened that night. Isn't there any way we can find out who the person is? It's impossible, pal. Radio waves can be sent almost anywhere, so there's no real way to find out. Oh. Is there really no way to find out? I got it! What? Hey, pal, let me borrow this mini camera for a bit. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna go around to the electronic shop and see if I can find out who bought this. But that's impossible. I mean, it's already 9 p.m. Leave it to me. Even if I have to search all night, I'll find your man, pal. Spy camera and transmitter given to Detective Gumshoe. Oh yeah, baby, it's investigating time. I'm on fire, pal. My fingers are itching to go. Yeah! He's gone. Yep. But Mr. Scruffy Detective sure is a nice man. He's pushing himself so hard, all for Mr. Maya's sake. It's a mystery how you always manage to do things in the most inefficient ways, right? You'll have to excuse me. I heard your conversation just now. Edgeworth? What are you doing here? A rescue team has been created and deployed. I can't say I'm optimistic, but we have to move forward, one step at a time. I see. Thanks. Don't thank me yet. We still have to find her. So there was a spy camera hidden inside this stuffed animal, huh? You are one lucky man, Wright. Do you know this stuffed bear, little girl? I have no idea. Of course not. The maker of this bear is a very expensive luxury brand from overseas. It's completely handmade, and only a small number of these are exported here. What? The camera and transmitter that Scatterbrain Detective took with him are dead ends. Things like these can never be bought anywhere. However, this bear is different. By tracking how it got into this country, this bear can tell us who the buyer is. Can you really do that? Mr. Net, can he really? Well, I guess so. It's 9 p.m. I think I can still make it in time. I'll be taking this for now. I'm sure you have other things you have to do. Stuffed bear snatched up by Edgeworth. See you soon, Wright.
Smashed up that giant statue.
Yep, and just took it with him.
Wait! What? Why are you doing this?
I have no interest in explaining myself to someone who cannot comprehend. But besides that, Wright, until court reconvenes tomorrow, you should concern yourself with this question. Who was the person that murdered Juan Corrida? The real killer? Do you really still think it was Adrian Andrews? To be honest, I don't know anymore. You still have a little time left. Find the truth, Wright. Everything begins with the truth. Juan Corrida's real killer. Miss Andrews' past. The kidnapper whose sole condition is an acquittal for Mr. Ungard. And this card, Shelley the Killer. Maya, the only way I can save you now is to find all the answers to this case tonight. I don't understand what your real intentions are, Edgeworth, but as you said, all I can do for now is find the truth.
Bum, bum, bum. Very good.
All right, y'all. That will do it for tonight. Thank you all for joining me on yet another fun investigative journey. Join us again next Wednesday. Ryder will be continuing Persona 5 after the whatever dungeon. I don't remember. Okumura. The Okumura dungeon. So she is about to take part in the next part of the game. All new, all exciting, and quite personally, quite honestly, my favorite dungeon in the game. And then after that, we will continue our investigation. And maybe even finish out this case. We'll see. But anyways, like we always say, night-night, and don't let the bears bite. Good night, y'all.